What a superbly featured room, and what excellent boiled potatoes. Many years since I've had such an exemplary vegetable. To which of my fair cousins should I compliment the excellence of the cooking?
Mr. Collins, we are perfectly able to keep a cook.
Excellent. I'm very pleased the estate can afford such a living. I'm honoured to have as my patroness Lady Catherine de Bourgh. You've heard of her, I presume.
It's currently 40 degrees in my house. Feels like 40 in Toronto. If you know me well enough, there's 3 things I love. 1, food. Dessert especially. 2, sleeping. You always catch me doing it. And 3, Pride and Prejudice. Now, if you looked on my page, you probably saw that I went to London. And I ended up going to a lot of places, eating a lot of foods. Here's the picture of my vlog. If you're not subscribed, you should go subscribe because I do videos whenever I want. Do not have a schedule, but I do make fun videos, so subscribe to my channel. And watch my London vlog because I ended up going to a lot of fun places and ended up eating a lot of fun places. Now, at the end of that vlog, I ended up hinting at that I went to Chatsworth house. Now, if you are a movie lover, if you're a Pride and Prejudice lover, you probably know what that is. And for people who don't know what Chatsworth house is, this house was where Pride and Prejudice, the 2005 movie, was filmed. It was Mr. Darcy's house. Now, in that house, they ended up filming one of my favorite movies of all time. I watch Pride and Prejudice once a year. There was a time where I used to watch it every single weekend. But I watch it once a year whenever I'm feeling sad, whenever I'm feeling happy, whenever I'm feeling a feeling, that's the movie I watch. So the fact that I was ended up going to London, I already knew I had to be there. I was like, I have to be the room where it happens because that's where it happened. Now, if you know London, you know that Chatsworth House is not in London, it's in Sheffield. So now I'm gonna talk about my trip, I'm gonna insert some clips of the house, and I'm gonna bake a dessert. Now, the dessert I'm gonna be making is cheesecake. Now, the reason why I'm making a cheesecake is because I was looking at a few Regency desserts and they weren't giving. There were some that are cool, don't get me wrong, but I don't believe that you need to bring everything back from the past. Some of those desserts were not for me, but one thing I learned was really cool was like cheesecake was made during the Regency era. I'm gonna insert some like information here, but apparently it's made during the Regency era and they used to eat it back then. So I was like, let me make a cheesecake. The flavored cheesecake I'm gonna be making is, if you're a movie lover, if you watch Pride and Prejudice 2005, you know that there's a famous quote that says, these are some excellent potatoes. So I was like, why not make a sweet potato cheesecake that fits both the movie and the Regency era? So that's what I'm gonna be making. I know it's not really Regency, like high tea. They wouldn't be eating this, but I was like, why not make something delicious that isn't a pudding? If you love pudding, that's up to you, but I don't want pudding. Oh, before I get started, I'd like to say and give credit to the recipe I'm following. The recipe I'm following is Stovetop Kisses cheesecake recipe. I wanted to follow her because I like her videos, and yeah, I think it would taste good. I've never made a cheesecake, sweet potato pie cheesecake. I've never made a sweet potato pie ever. So we're gonna see if it tastes good. But before we start anything, we have to make the crust and we have to bake it. So my oven right now is preheated to 350, and then I'm gonna make the crust. Now the crust, in her Stovetop Kisses recipe, she's so smart. She uses Cinnamon Toast Crunch. She uses about like 4 cups Cinnamon Toast Crunch and she blends it in the blender. Then she adds brown butter, and then she puts it in this pan and she stuffs it and she bakes it for 8 minutes. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm just putting the crust only on the ends because I don't really want it to reach all the way to the side. I saw that Danni did that and I thought that was genius because you can be able to see like the swirls in the cheesecake. Now, while the crust is baking, let's talk about Chatsworth House. Now, by the time I got there, I was already tired because it was like a 4-hour journey. But once I entered this front entrance, I knew that I was in for an amazing time. Now, when I entered the main entrance, I recognized it immediately from Pride and Prejudice. You can see like the paintings from the floor to the ceiling, and in each room I had like an own like art, which is really interesting. It didn't really feel like a home, it felt like an art gallery. And if you see like the paintings from like the ceiling to the floor, all of it looked very old. I don't know how the word for it, but it just looked like money. It looked like a lot of money. Each room looked like a lot of money. And I felt like I was in a place full of people who have a lot of money. Now, the art that I've seen, I've never seen before. It was just so detailed, and it really paid attention to like the history of the house. Now, this house was like, passed down from generation to generation, the Devonshire family, I believe. You can see their paintings and their history throughout each room. What also I find interesting is that every couple months they have their own art gallery in the house, full of like contemporary but also old art that was given to them. Now, this month it was called The Gorgeous Nothings. It was all about flowers, which I found really interesting. So in each room, that had like its own main centerpiece of given by like an artist. And yeah, I didn't think that that what this house would be, but it was contemporary but also old, and it was really cool. And what I found really interesting is that the house contained a lot of British history. For example, they had King George and Queen Charlotte's chair, which who knew? The only King George and King Charlotte I know is the one from Shonda Rhimes. Now, when she said this was King George and Queen Charlotte's inauguration chair, I was gagged. I was like, yes, this is what I want to see. This is what I came for. I had no idea that British history existed in Chatsworth. I had no idea that Chatsworth was such a like a monument in England. Who knew? Another thing I didn't know was that sweet potatoes come in 2 different colors. If you're wondering why do my sweet potato look yellow, apparently sweet potatoes come in yellow and it comes in orange. Now after I boiled it, which I would suggest roasting it instead, but after I boiled it and I peeled it, I said, "Oh." I said, "Whoa, did I buy a regular potato?" Apparently I didn't. I did buy a sweet potato, and they come in 2 different colors. Now the yellow one has more starch in it, and it's less sweet than the orange one, which is, I don't know if it's a yam. Is it a yam? Is it a sweet potato? I don't know. I just continued with the recipe. Now here I'm adding my sugar, my brown sugar, and I'm just whisking it really well. When I peeled the potatoes, I made sure to like mash them. I also just put in the blender because I don't want any lumps. And then I'm just mixing all the stuff together that was in the recipe. Now, while Tehran Mumtaz mixes the sweet potato pie filling, let's go back to Chatsworth Mumtaz. Now, this is probably one of my favorite rooms because it had just gold everywhere. It was the richest room, I felt like, and also it was the coolest room because it had this violin painting. Yes, you're looking at it. It is a painting of a violin on a door, and it looked real, like it looked like it was a violin hanging on it. And then it had a bunch of these like drawers and these, I don't know what they're called. I call them luggages, but they were all encrusted with gold, real gold. This place was just, it felt like aristocrat lived there, and they probably did. Now, if you think I sound stressed out, that was because I have never seen money like that in my life. Another thing that I'm stressed about is the fact that I put sour cream in my sweet potato pie filling, which you're not supposed to do. You're supposed to put sour cream in your cheesecake. I ended up messing up the recipe. However, it tastes delicious in the end, so it is what it is. So I ended up putting sour cream in the sweet potato pie filling, and then I just continued adding everything else. I didn't notice until way too late. I was wondering why my sweet potato pie filling was so watery. Had no idea. And instead what I did was I like substituted my butter. So I ended up putting less butter and filled it with the sour cream. Like how much I put in the sour cream was I deducted from the butter so that the fats can match. And I ended up still putting heavy cream in it. I was like, let me just follow the recipe and like substitute 2 things. And it ended up tasting delicious. I will say it was a very watery filling, which is not the intent that the recipe wanted, but you know, sometimes stuff doesn't work out, so you just gotta do what you gotta do. It smelled like, now I'm not Christian, but it smelled like Christmas. You know, the smell of Christmas when it's like everyone's making pumpkin spice, everyone's making cinnamon stuff, nutmeg stuff. It smelled exactly like that. Now, the Gorgeous Nothing theme of flowers and bees were shown in many different ways. My favorite one is definitely the dresses. Now, this dress was by Hussein, I think it was called the Taperi dress. It had like little bees on it and flowers and crystals. And there's also another dress that I saw that was really pretty that was made out of like sticks. I think I love the way they showed the different dresses in different rooms. Like even this one with the corset was really beautiful. And when we moved to the next room, it had a lot of paintings from the family, the Devonshire family. I think this was the 5th Devonshire. I don't know. He was definitely the 5th Duke, and these were all the members of the Devonshire family. Their paintings were like very beautiful and done really well. And we just moved along to each room, and I got to see different members of each family of different generations all the way dating back to like 15 generations. Now, this also was another highlight for me because I saw a lot of paintings that you would see in film. And one of the paintings stood out to me the most because I was like, I see you in the back. I see my people in the back. And if you see what I'm seeing, you know what I'm seeing. And I see my people, but I'm not seeing my people. You know what I mean? And then I saw the paintings and I was like, ah, it doesn't matter because I saw my people in a painting. It wasn't really the best representation, and it did make me really sad, especially with all the money I was around. But to see yourself in one way, I guess, I don't know. It made me feel sad. It made me feel really sad. Now I'm making the cheesecake filling. I know from sad to happy, but I'm making cheesecake filling. Cheesecake, of course, room temperature. Then I'm adding vanilla and I'm adding my sugar. I'm gonna add the eggs one by one, and oh, that really made me sad. And then add the sour cream that I messed up. I had a little bit of sour cream left, so I'm like, whatever is in there, we're gonna put the sour cream in, and then we're going to mix it all together. Make sure it's smooth. Your cheesecake cannot have any lumps in it. Imagine eating cheesecake and a clump of cream cheese in your mouth. That's gross. So make sure it's nice and creamy, and then we're gonna move on. Now, I keep saying that each room is my favorite room, but this room was the reason why I came. This is the marble room, which was featured in Pride and Prejudice. The marbles were so beautiful, like the marble statues, I think they're called. The paintings were really nice, but when I was walking around, I just felt like Elizabeth from Pride and Prejudice. I was like, this is my future husband's home. These are my marble statues. I'm wearing a cute little dress. I'm petite, I'm small, and I'm also feisty. Like, that's what I felt in this room. I felt the feminine energy was radiating through my body, but also I was in awe of the sculptures. I don't go to museums, so I'm just like, I might have to go start going to museums because this is really beautiful. Now, what cracked me up was in the movie, they had Mr. Darcy's head in the marble room, but the Devonshire family was like, nah, y'all can go to the gift shop because it was not in that room. It was in the gift shop and like the corner of the gift shop, which makes so much more sense because the Devonshire family, all their art is featured in their important rooms, and Mr. Darcy is not Mr. Darcy Devonshire, so they're like, let's put him on the other side of the room, which made me laugh because that's what I was here for. I said, where he at? And he was not there. Right now, I'm just making the marble sweet potato pie cheesecake. I'm layering them like on top of each other because I wanted to look like a marble, but because it's really watery, I sort of just had to layer them on top of each other. I was really worried that it would like mix together and I wouldn't create like a really marbly look. Again, if you followed her recipe correctly, you wouldn't be in my position, but we gotta do what we gotta do. It turned out beautiful because you can still see like the marble look around it. If I just like drizzled it around, sometimes I got a fork and swirled it around. On the top, I really focus on like the swirly look. And then after this, I just end up baking it for longer than she baked it. I don't know why mine was a lot longer than hers. Maybe my oven is less hot than hers. I think she baked it for like 50 minutes. I remember baking for like an hour and 20, an hour and 30. That was probably because of the measurements. It's not really Danny Rose's recipe's fault. It's my fault. But it ended up baking for a really long time. I did not bake it in a water bath. I would suggest you bake it in a water bath. It wasn't needed in the recipe, but I should have done that because you'll see later on. Now, because I paid for the premium package of Chatsworth's tour guide, they ended up taking us to the roof, as you just saw, and it was like, we got to see the 100-acre garden and the park and the farmyards. It was really cool. Now I'm at the gift shop, which is where I ended up spending a lot of money. And I finally got to see the reason why I came. I got to see something very important to me. I got to see Mr. Darcy's statue head. And if you don't know where this is from the scene in Pride and Prejudice where Elizabeth realizes that she falls in love with him and she's like, yeah, that's my man. And this is me also falling in love with him. And it was a dream come true, honestly. It was such a great time. The sad thing is I don't have a lot of photos with me and the bust because I was by myself and I had to ask a stranger, and I already have social anxiety, so I'm not doubling it. And then I just ended up walking around the gift shop. I saw a lot of things that I wanted to take, but I knew that I was traveling from Canada to London and I couldn't really take any glass. So I ended up getting like a really cute tote bag. I think I show it right here. It's sort of this design of the Pride and Prejudice theme. This tote bag right here is what I ended up buying. It was beautiful. It has a coat on the back. Then after we had a little break and I got to sit on the grounds, everywhere was pretty packed that has AC. So let me just sit with nature and eat my little sandwich I got from, what's that store called? M&S. I got from M&S. It was a strawberry cream sandwich. It was really good. It was really refreshing for what I needed after like 6 hours of walking around. And this is me eating that sandwich. And What made me laugh is how happy I am in this video. And this is my home. These are my trees. After I ate my delicious sandwich, I had an hour to spare before our golf cart ride, and I ended up walking around the grounds. I looked at the outside of the house, but also I looked around, and I saw a lot of things that I saw in the movies that I didn't think I would see because there were so many people there at the time. It was a school event that was happening, and I saw like the place where Elizabeth ran away from Mr. Darcy, which cracked me up. The staircase, the famous one. I saw that and I was like, yeah, I would love to recreate this, but I was by myself, so I didn't really have people around me to do it. And then I ended up hopping on the golf cart for the last point of my trip, which was going around the grounds. And again, there's not only art inside the house, but there's art outside the house. And they had like these busts of Queen Elizabeth and King Charles and other important people who I don't really know. I don't remember who they were. But I was like, okay, this is really cool. Also had like a weeping wallow tree and like so many other things that I could not catch at the same time. I thought that were really cool. They had like this like block that had flowers in it. I don't know, a lot of things happened. Now let's go back to the cheesecake. So back to Toronto, Mumtaz. She's upset because her cheesecake cracked, which I should have known because I didn't bake it in a water bath. But what I'm looking here is a cheesecake in the middle, still wobbly while the sides are cooked, and it was. I might have overcooked it, but I don't think I did. I think it just cracked. So right now we're gonna put it in the fridge and let it chill overnight. Now when one thing comes to an end, another thing must come to an end, and this was the end of my golf cart ride, which means it was the end of Chatsworth. I was a bit sad, but I also was so tired because I was there from like 11 to 6 p.m. and I was ready to go home. Taking my ass home, I'm so tired. It was great though, I got a bunch of stuff, goodie bags, but also I have 25%, so I'm not really taking anything else, so I'm going home, and hopefully I can make it home without actually getting lost. Bye guys. I literally ran to get ice cream, eating ice cream at Chatsworth. Crazy. Now this time I was just taking the bus back to London, and then I would have to take a train back to London, which was basically a 3-hour journey back home, but I was still on a high from what I saw at Chatsworth. I would always recommend people to go. Is it very pricey? It is, but if you're a lover of Pride and Prejudice, just pay the price. And if you're already flying overseas, why not just go to Chatsworth, a city nearby? And I think it was 100% worth it. Now the cheesecake ended up chilling for 2 days, so this is like 2 days after I baked it, and it still smelled so fragrant. I don't know, I think the cinnamon and the sweet potato just, my whole house smelled like it. It's really beautiful. I think because of the crack, I was kind of pissed off because like if I just baked it in a water bath, it wouldn't have cracked. But it was a really heavy cheesecake. It was thick, it was heavy, and it smelled amazing. If you see like the crust is at the bottom, it's sort of like almost caramelized, maybe because of the butter that was in there. Kind of became like really crispy. I was afraid because I put it in the fridge for so long, that which is 2 days, that the cinnamon toast crunch would be soggy, but it wasn't. It was very crispy. Like I had to like really cut deep to get this slice of cake out. Now because my knife is not the sharpest, I kind of had to like dig deep with this cheesecake. I'm really happy the fact that the crust is quite not crispy, but it has a little crunch to it because the cheesecake is already really sweet and quite soft. So I feel like it really balanced it out. If you see me sawing at it, it's really because my knife is not the strongest. And also, yes. So once I pulled it out, you don't really see like a marble look, which I kind of wanted, but you do see a cross section between the cheesecake and the sweet potato. I ended up adding some whipped cream to balance out the sweetness of the cheesecake, and it was really good. After a long journey at Chatsworth and after 2 days, well, 3 days of baking, I was really excited to try this cheesecake and also just reminisce about what I did in the past. Here it is. This is the final slice, actually. The majority of my family ate it, but here's my sweet potato pie. I feel like it's been a long journey from Chatsworth to sweet potato pie to now me here eating it and back in my home country. Kind of sad, but I'm really excited to try it. Show you how it looks here. I'm gonna hold on, trying to keep my hand steady. Yeah. Wow. Just look at that. Try this bite I can already smell. It smells so good. Oh my god. The crust is still so crispy. Ooh. Wow. I love Pride and Prejudice. So the fact that I got to go to Chatsworth, got to go to London, and I got to see all these places that I've always wanted to see, it's honestly a privilege. Like, this is probably a dream come true for me because I have loved Pride and Prejudice since high school. So the fact that I got to go to Chatsworth, the fact that I get to make a video about something that I love and I got to make something delicious, and the fact that I got to make a skit, like, this is probably the funnest time I've ever had in a video. So if you liked it as well, please comment, share, and subscribe. And if you want me to talk more about movies, because I love movies, just comment what movie you would like me to talk about and what dessert you'd like me to make. Yeah, I'm a bit overwhelmed. I can't believe I went to London and Chatsworth, but yeah. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.